So regulation of gene expression in eukaryotes. So is gene expression in eukaryotes is controlled at a many different level as compared to the prokaryotes. In prokaryotes, only regulation of gene expression occurs at transcription level, but here in eukaryotes, it is occurs at different level. Like it occurs at 5 levels mainly. Firstly, it occurs regulation of gene expression at DNA level, then at a transcription level, also at a post transcription level, translational level, and post translational level. So we discuss each and every aspects of the gene regulation at the different level. First is gene expression at the DNA level. So now how gene can be altered? Like one mechanism is gene amplification, second is gene rearrangement, third is gene loss, there is a certain aspects of the gene is lost out from the cell. Gene switching, there is a one gene or one gene's product will be one gene's action will be switched to the other gene, so function of the one gene will be taken up by the other gene, that is known as gene switching. Then chemical modification of the DNA or histones. Histones, that are the proteins which are bind with the DNA molecule to form the nucleosome and chromatin fibrils. As an example, the chemical modification of DNA is the methylation of DNA. Gene amplification, it may amplify means to multiply their level. So one gene can be multiplied for several thousand folds at a same area. So thousand rather than the only one product at a time, thousand product at a time can be synthesized. Then gene rearrangement, certain aspects of the gene, if certain gene are present, but they can be rearranged to produce the different products from the same kind of the gene. It can occur in also certain essential aspect. So let's see one by one which is the different mechanism of gene regulation at DNA level. So first is the gene amplification. Amplification means to produce the large number of the specific gene. So why it occurs? To produce the large number of the specific protein that is coded by the this particular gene. Many copies of the particular gene can be generated, means one gene can be multiplied into the different types of the gene, same type of the gene in a numbers of the copies. This condition or this mechanism is known as gene amplification. Now genes are amplified in some species at certain stages of the normal as a normal development, as in like in the Drosophila, also known as the fruit fly, in which the amplification of the few genes encoding the egg cell proteins occur. So there is a egg cell protein is synthesized at a very much higher level in shorter period of the time during their normal development. This is the gene amplification. Suppose this is the one gene, you can see this is the one gene, this contains these two areas, and when there is a requirement of the gene amplification, this one gene, they will be multiplied into the several folds. Here only in the figure taken is a single digit number, but it can be multiplied into the several folds if the cell or the particular cell or particular species requires the this gene product in the larger number in a shorter period of the time. So at a time this gene becomes amplified in the several folds and all the genes become now transcribed at the same time. So large number of the mRNA synthesized, which is translated into the large number of the protein that is required either for the normal development, as we have seen in the example of Drosophila, that is the fruit fly. Now this type of the gene amplification is also acquired by certain bacteria. If we have certain bacteria or certain cancerous cell, when we are giving the certain drugs which inhibits the particular type of the gene, as an example, methotrexate, it is the drug, you all know about this methotrexate, it is a folate antagonist. So This methotrexate is used as a anti-cancer drug routinely. Now, how it acts? So, this methotrexate acts by inhibiting the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme normally. But how the cancer cell will do the resistance against this drug? So, this malignant cell, they develop the drug resistance by amplification of the gene, that is the gene which encodes for this enzyme dihydrofolate reductase. So this gene becomes amplified, so larger number of the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme will be synthesized. So whatever amount of the methotrexate we will given, then it may not be able to inhibit all the enzymes which are synthesized by this gene amplification. So malignant cell will do drug resistance by amplification of the gene that codes for the dihydrofolate reductase. So this is a clinical application, or this is a clinical scenario in which the gene amplification example we will see in the cancerous cell in human beings. So that was about gene amplification. Now second is the gene rearrangement. Here what happened, rearrange means there is a arrangement becomes change and there is a newer gene is synthesized, or newer composition of the gene is synthesized. Here what happened, segment of the DNA, it may move from the one location to other location in the genome. So initially it is present at one place, then it can be moved from that place to the another place, and in that another place it will associate with the different types of in the different with the different DNA which are originally present at the far side than the this segment of the DNA. So they will be associate each other and it will produce the different proteins. As an example, gene arrangement occurs in the B cell of the immune system, which will produce the antibodies. Here is the suppose this is the one gene molecule, certain portion of the genome. Now all of you know that the antibodies contains the two light chain and two heavy chain. So these type of the antibodies, they can be produced by or there is a different types of the portion. For the different portion you have seen in the light chain and the heavy chain, that variable region, domain product and joining aspect, that all composed of the different certain amino acid chain or the protein molecule. And these each different aspect, variable region, this domain portion or this joining aspect, they are present in the different genes on the whole specific chromosome. So this is a variable aspect containing different number of the genes, v1 2 3 up to n numbers. Then domain aspects d1 to up to 20 numbers. Then joining gene, joining protein encoding gene are present up to these numbers. And constant region is a different gene aspects. So according to the different types of the immunoglobulin, or the presence of the different or the production of the particular antibodies which are complementary to the specific antigen. Look, antigen can be present, may have the different structure. According to that, to bind with antigen, antibodies also requires the specific complementary structure to specific antigen. So different antigen when will come, so same antibody composed of the, suppose this is the one antibody is synthesized having the heavy chain, this is the V3 compound or variable region, D3 compound is domain region, and J2 is joining region. So this structure may be different. If suppose it is V1 is there in place of V3, D2 is there, or J4 is there. So different types of the structures of the heavy chain of immunoglobulin, they can be produced by recombination of this gene on different aspects. Sometimes V1 D3 or different types of the matches will occur and recombination between the gene occurs. So it is known as this original gene becomes now rearranged like this way, and it will produce the heavy chain of that protein or immunoglobulin, while constant region remains same in each and every antibody. So the constant region remains same, but this heavy chain becomes different. So this type of the gene rearrangement occurs in the antibody production when the body will expose to the different types of the antigen. So this is the example of gene rearrangement in the gene expression regulation. Now third important thing is gene loss. Certain times in the cell, suppose gene is present, but after some period this gene become lost out. Like how? If the genes are depleted or partially deleted from the cells, functional proteins cannot be produced. Like example, gene loss occurs during the RBC development. All of we know that the mature RBC cannot produce hemoglobin. Only immature RBCs or erythroblast in early developmental stage, they will produce the hemoglobin. So in immature erythroblast, they contains the nuclei. So obviously they contains the gene which produce the mRNA for globin chains of the hemoglobin. But as the cell mature, this nuclei is extruded out, and therefore whole the gene becomes lost out by the cell. So mature RBC cannot synthesize the hemoglobin. So this is again initially this gene was producing the hemoglobin protein, or sorry, globin gene of the hemoglobin. But in after that, once the cell becomes mature, it cannot synthesize the hemoglobin. This occurs due to the gene loss. So it is also a one mechanism of gene regulation at DNA level. Now another is a gene switching. Switching means that is one gene is initially was active, but after certain time this gene is switched off, and their closely related gene will active, and it will takes the function of original gene. As an example, one example is globin chain synthesis. In embryo, in hemoglobin, we have seen that in embryo our hemoglobin or blood, in embryonic blood hemoglobin is made up of 2 zeta and 2 epsilon chain. But by the 6 month of the intrauterine life, hemoglobin, embryonic hemoglobin will be replaced by the fetal hemoglobin HbF, and it contains 2 alpha and 2 gamma chains. After birth, hemoglobin F is replaced by the adult hemoglobin A, and this hemoglobin A will composed of the 97% of hemoglobin A1 and 3% of hemoglobin A2. This A1 hemoglobin, they contains 2 alpha and 2 beta chain, and A2 hemoglobin contains 2 alpha and 2 delta chain. So here in example, what you have seen that in embryonic period, the gene which codes for this zeta chain and epsilon chain, they are active or they are switch on. But as the time periods go on, in about 6 months of the intrauterine life, this both gene becomes inactive, and their function will remain taken up by the this gene coding the alpha chain and gene coding the gamma chain. Same like that, once there is a birth occurs, after birth the HbF containing gamma chain, this gamma chain function will be replaced by beta chain and also some by the delta chain. So these, when there is a no requirement of particular protein, or that gene becomes switched off and another gene will take up their function. So this is known as gene switching. Another example is immunoglobulin synthesis. We all know that primary immune response, when the first time antigen is exposed to our body or immune cell, then which type of the antibodies are produced? IgM. But in secondary, when the same antigen will expose to our immune cell in the second time, which antibodies is produced? IgG antibody. So also there is a switching of the gene which codes for the IgM and IgG. There is a gene switching is occurs. These are the examples of gene switching: globin chain synthesis and immunoglobulin synthesis. Now another is the chemical modification of DNA. So first, the histone protein modification. So when the histone becomes acetylated in the DNA, it will leads to the activation of the transcription, means gene becomes expressed. But when the histone becomes deacetylated, there is a inactivation of the gene expression occurs, and it will suppress the transcription. Then third is a very important methylation of DNA. So methylation of the cytosine to produce the 5-methyl cytosine. Methylated DNA remains inactive during the differentiation and during the repeated cell division. These aspects, methylation of the DNA, which we have also seen after the replication, the modification which occurs after replication. What happens after the replication in the our germs and line? Once there is a in germs and line, when there is a replication occurs and there is a different combination, suppose the embryonic first cell is synthesized or zygote is synthesized. This zygote cell, they contains the DNA from the maternal cell or mother cell and the father cell both. But even if it contains the both types of the gene, the one particular gene, suppose that encodes for color of the eye. So there is a both two alleles are present, one on father cell and father gene and one on the mother gene. So from that two gene, only one gene becomes expressed yet continuously during the life, while other gene becomes inexpressed or remain inactive. So this inactivity is done by the methylation of the particular DNA or methylation of the particular as portion of the genome. So that is a methylation of DNA will leads to the inhibition of the gene expression. Methylation mainly occurs at cytosine to produce the 5-methyl cytosine, and this type of the writing on after the DNA synthesis, that is known as a epigenetic modification. And this epigenetic modification that occurs for the, it is also known as a nature's pencil, which will writes and which will write in the prepared DNA, and it either can be rewritten also when there is a this zygote will produce into the mature cell and it will produce the one progeny, and this progeny when will fertilize their germ cell becomes fertilized with the another germ cell in their next generation. Then again there may be change in the gene expression may be occur. Suppose there this progeny has a uh, gene allele which is active from the father cell, but when it will produce the fertilization with the their next progeny, then what happen, it may leads to the there is a this father cell allele which was active in their original body, but it may not be active during their further progeny or their further child. So this is a writing by the nature's pencil which either can be erased out or it can be rewritten out. So this is a very important and most beautiful mechanism by the nature, which either can be active or deactive according to the different spare time or there is a different recombination of the gene. So this was all about gene regulation at the DNA level. Now what are the mechanisms of gene regulation at the transcription level? So major method of gene regulation in the eukaryotes is the gene regulation at the transcription level mainly, which may occur at two levels. One is chromosomal packaging and another is the individual gene regulation. Chromosomal packaging occurs in which all the genes which are present in the chromosome are regulated at the same time, while individual gene regulation occurs only the specific gene. What happens in the chromosomal packaging? So eukaryotic cells are able to regulate the large area of the chromosome which contains the many genes through the chromosomal packaging. If the certain portion of the chromosome, if the cell doesn't want to transcribe that portion of the chromosome, so what it will do, it will leads to the that portion of the chromosome becomes tightly packaging of regions of the whole chromosomal DNA. So it will produce the heterochromatin which are densely packed out, and this portion of the chromosome is also known as transcriptionally inactive form of the chromosome, because it is not readily accessible for the transcription as they are the densely or tightly packed. In opposite to that, if the portion of the chromosome is very much useful for the particular cell because it requires their product. So it is known as transcriptionally active form of the chromosome, and it will synthesize by that particular chromosome by loose packaging of the chromosome. So in that area of the chromosome, the DNA are present in the loose form, and it is known as a euchromatin. Euchromatin means transcriptionally active form of the chromosome. I think you might know about this terminology, heterochromatin and euchromatin. So what it utilized for the females mainly. So in female, two X chromosomes, sexual chromosomes are there, two X. So from this two X chromosome, only one X chromosome is fully active, while other chromosome is present as a bar body. So how it occurs, how bar body is synthesized, which is a very small than the another active X chromosome. So one X chromosome of the females is inactivated by producing the tightly wound structure of chromosome. So whole chromosome in one X, it will one X chromosome, whole chromosome becomes tightly packed out, so it is not accessible for the transcriptional machinery for their transcription. So there is at all no transcription from that one X chromosome will happen. So cytoplasm is also somewhat less, and this body is known as bar body. So this is a chromosomal package. Example of the bar body is chromosomal packaging. Then individual gene regulation. So you might have learned in the transcriptional regulation that how there is a gene can be regulated. So gene regulation at transcriptional level mainly occurs by transcriptional factors that you use in the different transcriptional factors, transcripted 2A, 2B, 2H, etc. So these transcriptional factors is a two domain, and one domain binds with the enhancer and another domain bind with the promoter molecule, and they will lead to the transcription of the gene. Until otherwise it binds with the enhancer and promoter, it cannot lead to the regulation of the expression of the gene. So this type of the loop will be produced. What this transcriptional, one domain of the transcriptional factor bind to this enhancer molecule, and one will to this promoter element, so that RNA polymerase can bind here in the promoter site, and it will lead to the transcription of the particular gene. So this is the transcriptional factor binding in activation of the transcription. How there is the activation of the transcription occurs. So these transcriptional factors, they can be classified according to because they are the proteins, they are classified according to the structure of their DNA binding domains. Which type of the structure is present in their DNA binding domains? Some maybe contain helix turn helix proteins, some also contains helix loop helix proteins, some also contain the zinc finger proteins, and some also contain the leucine zipper proteins. We have already discussed these different types of the proteins in previous lecture. Still, these are the different motifs. This is a helix turn and helix, which may be present in this type of lactose repressor and cyclic AMP metabolic activator protein. This is an example only, but it is not like that only these two molecule contains this type of the motif. Different numbers of the transcription factors also are different for the different types of the gene, so they may contain this type of the motif or protein. Then zinc finger, we have seen in that the zinc molecule are present, which is bind with either 4 cysteine residue or 2 cysteine and 2 histidine residue, and forms this like finger like structure, as it contains the zinc, and so it is known as zinc finger. So this type of the structure of binding domain of transcription factor help us to bind with the DNA efficiently, and either to activate enhancer molecule or promoter molecule. Same like other is the leucine zipper motif. We have seen the example of Foss and Jun protein. So this Foss and Jun molecule, when bind with the leucine containing protein, it will forms the heterodimer, and this heterodimeric protein containing leucine zipper motif, they will efficiently bind to the groove of the particular DNA, and either it will be enhancer region or maybe promoter region, and it will leads to the activation or inactivation or gene expression of particular gene which correlates with this type of the promoter or the enhancer or repressor region. Then helix loop helix motif. This way one helix is there and one loop is produced. That is a some chain of the amino acid without having any particular the certain loop is produced and without having a particular secondary structure of the protein, and another helix is there. So this type of the structure may also present. So according to the need of the different structure to bind with the aspects of the DNA or DNA elements, the different transcription factor possess the different types of the structure. Some other regulatory elements also control the individual gene expression, like the promoter elements, which we have seen in the lactose operon, like the repressor molecule bind with the promoter region. So promoter region will be blocked and RNA polymerase cannot move further to transcribe the particular structural gene. So this is a promoter element also regulate the gene expression. Then enhancers. Once the transcriptional factors binds with enhancer, it will leads to the activation of the transcription. Repressor molecule, if the certain molecule will bind to the repressor, it inhibits the gene transcription. Then hormone responsive element that we have seen in the vitamin A and the vitamin D mechanism of the action, that gene expression in response to the group 1 hormones, that hormones which contains their receptor in intracellular site, either in the nucleus also or either in the cytoplasm. Once these hormone bind to the receptor, they will produce the hormone receptor complex, and this hormone receptor complex either bind with the same type of the hormone receptor complex or different types of the hormone receptor complex, and it will produce either homodimer or heterodimer. Then this homodimer or heterodimer, they will bind with the particular aspects of the DNA. That aspects of the elements of the DNA is known as hormone responsive element, and this will leads to the activation of the particular genes transcription that we have already seen in the mechanism of action of vitamin A and vitamin D. In vitamin A and vitamin D, they will produce the heterodimeric complex. So this was all about the gene regulation at a transcription level that occurs at the whole chromosome level by the chromosomal packaging, either dense chromosome packaging or loose chromosome packaging, while in case of the individual gene regulation mainly by the two factors, one by the transcriptional factors, other by the certain DNA elements like enhancer region, repressor region, hormone responsive element region or promoter element. Now we will see about the post transcriptional regulation. So mainly the post transcriptional regulation you have seen either I think in post transcriptional modification of the proteins, or sorry, post transcriptional modification mechanisms. So mainly it occurs at two level, one at alternative splicing and another at the regulation of RNA stability. What happens in alternative splicing? So in the DNA molecule also two terminology, another the exon and introns. Exon means they actually contains the nucleotides which are transcribed or which are present transcribed into the RNA and which are present into the mature RNA. Only exon, they are transcriptionally active, or there may be the these only the expressed into the RNA, while the intron molecule they are also transcribed into the RNA, but it is not present into the mature RNA. So there is a intron in the exon. Exons means actually containing the our interest of the gene molecule. Introns are interspacing area. So a gene composed of exons and introns is transcribed into the RNA by RNA polymerase, because gene is continuously transcribed into the one premature or the RNA transcript. Then this transcript, this intron molecule, they will be bind by the certain RNase molecule like RNase H molecule, and it will bind here into the both side at a particular sequence in the introns. So they will remove out these two, and also certain splicing factors, they will lead to the binding of these exons. So processing involves ribozymes also, ribozymes and proteins in nucleus to remove the intron derived RNA and splice together and the exon derived RNA into the mature mRNA. So these mRNA now only contains the exon molecule, this and this. These intron molecules are removed out. After further modification, either 5 prime capping also and 3 prime polyethylene and different other modification like methylation also, the mature mRNA travels to the cytoplasm where it directs for the protein synthesis. This mature mRNA now transferred through the nuclear pore and goes into the cytoplasm in ribosomal machinery to translate into the protein. So this is a alternative mRNA splicing. Now suppose one gene, they may be present take away one particular sequence, but it may leads to the by different alternative RNA splicing, it may leads to the synthesis of the different types of the product. As an example, alternative splicing of the different exons produce distinct mRNA and different proteins. So single gene expression results in the production of the diverse molecule. So single gene can be expressed into the different tissue and it may produce the different product into the different tissue. So one example is that calcitonin gene. Calcitonin gene is present in each and every cell of the body. But this calcitonin gene transcript, transcript splicing occurs in different way in thyroid gland and neurons. In thyroid gland, what happened? This calcitonin gene, they contains the exons and introns. So by their splicing occurs in a way like it may produce the mature mRNA, and when it is translated into the protein, it is produce the hormone, that is calcitonin, and this calcitonin acts as a calcium regulation. But in neurons, the same calcitonin gene which is transcribed into the transcript RNA transcript, then it is spliced or introns are spliced in such a way that it may produce the different product of the protein, that is calcitonin gene related peptide. There may be the some sequence are same into the both the product, hormone calcitonin and calcitonin gene related peptide, but it doesn't have the complete match sequence in both type of the product, and their role of the this product in neuron is role in the test. So there is a alternative splicing. Splicing may be different in RNA transcript which are produced into the same gene into the different tissue. Then regulation of the RNA stability. Now once the RNA is synthesized, it is important to that it should be stabilized for before until it is translated into the protein. So according to the need of the cell, either the mRNA once it is synthesized, either it can be degraded out or it may remains for the certain longer period. Some example that if the protein has a very less half life, so RNA should be once it is transcribed, RNA is synthesized, it should be directly translated into the proteins because it is a very short half life. So half life of the RNA is also determines the strength of the mRNA stability. Low half life biological, which is a biological half life very small, means in seconds or minutes, it is a very less mRNA stability, so it should be very rapidly translated into the protein and it should complete its function. Some other proteins, if it is requires for like as a proteins which are like hemoglobin proteins, that is globin chains, so it has been seen that even after the nucleus is removed out in the mature RBC, there is a hemoglobin can be increased out after the mature RBC is synthesized. This is because that mRNA which leads to the synthesis of the globin chain, that has a longer half life. So once in their premature erythroblast mRNA is synthesized, this mRNA will remain in longer period because they have the longest half life. So it will lead to the, then according to the need, it in the cytoplasm they will synthesize the globin chain and hemoglobin is synthesized. Certain hormone also influence the vulnerability of the mRNA for the degradation. So certain hormones, they also either degrade the mRNA, or either it will lead to the synthesis of the or there will lead to the increased activity of the mRNA. Then both ends of the RNA are protected from the nuclease attack, that is 7 guanosine trimethyl phosphate Kp and 3 prime polyethylene. Then inherent instability of the mRNA makes it susceptible to the degradation. If the mRNA which is synthesized, doesn't any stability, so it is rapidly degraded out. So gene expression can also regulate by adjusting the rate of the mRNA degradation. So it is a most also this RNA stability regulation is also most interesting aspect according to the our new research, how RNA gene expression can be regulated at a RNA level. So many research are also ongoing at present, that gene cannot we have to not work at the direct gene level, but we work with the RNA level, and this mRNA which is synthesized, it will silenced out by different complementary nucleotide containing RNA, that is known as a silencer RNA or micro RNA, that will bind with the mRNA molecule, and it will lead to the inhibition to bind with the translation machinery and inhibits the translation. So by this way also we can also regulate the gene expression. Then lastly, at a translational level regulation, mainly the initiation factors, you will learn in the translation that initiation factors are required for the translation in the eukaryotic cell is eukaryotic factor 2, eukaryotic initiation factor 2, which regulates this mechanism. Also some other factors also required, but this is the most important initiation factor in eukaryotic initiation factor 2. Now as in two example I have taken here as a translation regulation. So this initiation factor 2, it is only activated in dephosphorylated state, but it is not active in the phosphorylated state. So these initiation factors for translation, like so as an example with the globin chain. So if the globin chain is only required when the heme is present inside the cell, without heme globin chain synthesis is not required. So when the heme is present, heme will leads to the activation of this initiation factor by their dephosphorylation. So this dephosphorylated initiation factor will bind to the gene encoding this globin chain, and this gene it will bind to the gene encoding to the or mRNA encoding to the globin chain, and this globin chain will be translated into the protein, and this globin will bind to the heme. So hemoglobin is synthesized. So this is a very important regulation as a translational level. Same other mechanism is also happened at the translation level, that mRNA which is synthesized, like I have taken here example of apoferritin. So this apoferritin molecule, that is a protein molecule which is synthesized from the mRNA. So this mRNA of apoferritin at the 3 prime end, it contains one hairpin loop, and this loop can bind with the certain proteins. So when this protein bind with this loop, it will inactivate this mRNA for the translation. But when there is a iron level is present in the sufficient amount, it is required for the storage. So this storage occurs by this iron will inhibit that protein, and it will leads to the binding or translation of this mRNA molecule, and mRNA will translate into the apoferritin. This apoferritin bind with the iron for from the ferritin synthesis. So this is also important regulation at a translation level. The one example we have seen is a hemoglobin synthesis or globin chain translation or apoferritin translation. Then lastly is the post translational control. So post translational control, you will learn in the different post translational mechanism. Either protein is remain activated, appropriate folding of the protein is required, because different protein is a different structure. If as an example in the enzyme, it doesn't have a appropriate function or appropriate that that center or enzyme center which bind with the substrate molecule, if it is not appropriate or appropriate shape, then it is not active and it remains degraded out. So appropriate folding is required of the protein once it is synthesized. Sometimes certain portion of the protein is not required, then enzymatic cleavage is required, then some bond is also formed, either different between the site, like in the protein that is in the insulin, that is a different types of the disulfide bond is synthesized, that is also required is a post translational modification or control. Then if the protein is not required or dysfunctional protein is synthesized by the translational machinery, so it should not be remain in the cell because it may lead to the mutant function. So this it can be degraded out by the ubiquitin like of the certain small proteins. So this was all about our today's session, which we have included over the regulation of the gene regulation in the eukaryotes by the different level. One at DNA level, second at transcriptional level, most important, then post transcriptional level, translational level, and the post translational level. So thank you everyone for your attention. So here we have complete our the gene regulation in eukaryotes and the prokaryotes. If anyone has any question, you can ask me. And again I will tell you that this is a nice to know or the good to know area. If you just remember that which is the different mechanism of the gene regulation in the eukaryotes, it is also sufficient for you. And if you have any interest to go into the deep, you can read this whole topic. Thank you.